Too late to peanut vendor will be gone, and then I am sure you will be.
So, this one is a bit hard to watch. We have a YouTuber who uploaded his very first video on June 30th, 2014. And what followed was a rapid stream of content, all streaming a particular pattern. Staticky, low budget visuals paired with intense religious undertones.
Now here's the difference. For all that's in the world, three things are named. The lust of the flesh. Ever know about that? So many people do. The lust of the eyes. Did it ever dawn on you how much God loves you? Have you stopped to think? God so loved the world he sent his son Jesus. To die for the world, yes. But personally, to die for you. You know, it's wonderful to be a Christian and have the joy of Christ right now, the joy of salvation, and to know that one day soon we're going to be with him forever. Do you have any idea how much God knows about you? I've mentioned in many tapes how much he loves you. Someplace it says even the very hairs of your head are numbered. I don't have that many, but I've never tried to number them.
And as the weeks passed, something unsettling began to surface. See, over just 4 months, the creator, who referred to himself as me, started to appear weaker and weaker in each video he posted. And despite the cryptic titles, his videos primarily focused on his unwavering faith and spiritual devotion to God and to Jesus Christ. Eventually, he revealed a heartbreaking truth, a truth that we kind of all saw coming, that his declining health was due to a cancerous tumor. It had begun with what he had thought was a simple toothache, and the man even showed hope that surgery might be able to treat his ailment.
As you've seen some of my videos, and I do hope more of you will, you've noticed a man, not so young, but with a swollen jaw on the right side. This is something that's been coming along, getting to this stage for a couple of months. It is a cancerous tumor that one day soon a doctor will either remove it surgically or I'll have some radiation that can take care of it and get rid of it. Because there is some pain that goes with it. Not that horrible, but I mean, a little harder to sleep, and I think about it during the day. But why this came on, nobody knows. I first thought it was just a wisdom tooth kind of moving around like they do, but it's a lot more than that. So please bear with me. If you can't watch the video, listen to it. At least take these Christian videos, because believe me, I have put these out because I feel a great burden for every one of you out there, if you know Christ, to grow closer to him. And for the majority that do not know Jesus, but think you're doing fine, to learn you're not doing fine. You need to come to Christ. That's my desire, that you will surrender your life to Christ. Submit your will to him who knows everything. I did that many years ago, and I'm so glad I did.
So he continued uploading, even as his health visibly got worse, until his final post on October 12th, 2014. The video was titled 10-Hour Surgery Tomorrow, and its description was a heartfelt request for prayers, both for himself and the medical team that was working on him as well. The video itself was silent, with no real way to hear what he might have said. And after that final upload, the channel went completely silent. No new content and no further updates. Many believe that me tragically passed away following the surgery. I mean, with the video showing his gradual deterioration, I can see that possibly being the case.
Oh my god, Валя, you are crazy.
Материал только что обновленный. Сухой лед. Сухой лед. Твердый диоксид углерода СО2 при обычных условиях, переходящий в газообразное состояние.
Не давит вас. Еще очки. Боже мой,
Да что такая творится? Итак, вырабатывается он на углекислых установках и используется для охлаждения пищевых продуктов. Вы готовы?
Да!
У нас есть самый смелый? Да! Где он?
Славик! Ёб твою налево! Что вообще происходит? Он умер! Все, его нет больше! День рождения провизора! Я просто в шоке! Да блин, что блин происходит?
3 people have been killed in Moscow after dry ice was poured into a swimming pool that resulted in a major accident at a birthday party. Ekaterina Didenko was celebrating her 29th birthday at a small indoor pool complex when her friends at the party decided to recreate a viral trend that has been going around on the internet.
This has to be the worst outcome to a birthday party that I've ever seen. In Moscow, Russia, during February 2020, a popular influencer called Ekaterina Didenko was preparing to mark her 29th birthday with a party that promised to be unforgettable. See, a few years earlier, she had graduated from medical school and earned her credentials as a pharmacist. But rather than pursue a traditional career in the medical field, she took a different turn, combining her pharmaceutical knowledge with the power of social media. She created a blog that was centered around homemade remedies and do-it-yourself health solutions, aiming to help her audience avoid frequent trips to the pharmacy.
Почему с презервативами нельзя использовать смазки на масляной основе, а только на водной? Проведем эксперимент. Итак, вскрываем презерватив, раскатываем его. Вот что у нас получилось. Опускаем, заливаем. И нужно немного подождать. Для контроля возьмем другой образец. Хорошо тянется, не рвется. Оставим.
Though her content struck a chord with a lot of people, it did not come without controversy. Critics often raised concerns about the safety and reliability of her advice, calling it risky and potentially very dangerous. But nonetheless, the backlash didn't stop her momentum. Her charm and unique content earned her over 1 million followers across Instagram and other platforms, solidifying her place as a rising star. By early 2020, her online presence had grown into a successful career, and with her birthday right around the corner, she planned to celebrate in a way that would leave an impression on anybody who watched it. See, helping plan the big night was her husband, Valentin Didenko, who wanted the celebration to be as unforgettable as possible. He's the one who came up with the dramatic idea called the steam show. The couple had rented a private venue for the party, complete with a spacious indoor swimming pool, a feature that he decided to make the centerpiece of the whole party. Inspired by a popular internet trend, and armed with only a basic understanding of chemistry, he envisioned using dry ice to create a mist or fog-filled spectacle. See, when dry ice is mixed with water, it produces a thick, low-lying fog, perfect for an eye-catching visual effect. And the plan was simple: fill the pool with icy fog and transform this ordinary pool area into something magical. Well, as the night unfolded, he gathered everyone around by the pool, handing out protective gowns and goggles for the full effect. Then he brought out a large container of dry ice and dumped it into the water.
Oh my god!
Oh my god, Валя, you're crazy.
Материал только что обновленный. Газообразное состояние!
Instantly, a massive cloud of vapor erupted from the surface, covering the room in dense white mist. Phones came out, laughter echoed. Ekaterina began filming the scene, capturing what was meant to be the highlight of her party. But the moment quickly turned from spectacle to horror, because within seconds it became terrifyingly clear that the pool wasn't just a foggy photo op. It was still very much full of water. And when Valentine dove into the mist-covered pool, the man vanished instantly beneath the vapor, triggering a chain reaction that no one could have predicted.
Ёб твою налево! Что вообще происходит?
There was one crucial oversight, a deadly one. The reaction between dry ice and water doesn't just produce fog, it unleashes carbon dioxide. Released in such high concentration, that shit becomes toxic to anyone who breathes it in. What they thought was harmless mist ended up being a dense cloud of CO2, slowly suffocating the oxygen from the room. See, in high amounts, CO2 can cause dizziness, difficulty breathing, and even asphyxiation. And at first glance, Ekaterina's recording paints a picture of a successful and fun-filled party. The guests were laughing, dancing, and enjoying the dramatic steam show that was created by the dry ice. But everyone there was inhaling a toxic gas, and they didn't even know. To make matters worse, Valentine, who was determined to keep the fog contained for maximum visual effect, ordered the doors from the pool room to be closed, sealing everyone inside with virtually no ventilation. And the longer the fog lingered, the higher the concentration of CO2 climbed, turning this whole party into a death trap. And this man Valentine had just dived straight into the middle of it.
Он умер! Всё, его нет больше!
He would surface just once more after plunging into the pool. And though everybody there cheered him on, thinking that the man was just simply playing around, the reality of this shit was far more horrifying. Beneath the surface, his lungs were filling with water, while above, he was inhaling toxic gas. Trapped between drowning and suffocating, the man stood no chance. And that's why he was surfacing up. And meanwhile, Ekaterina continued filming and laughing as another man jumped into the pool. Around her, guests were completely unaware of the tragedy that was going on in the water, too busy filming clips for their social media pages. In the end, the party was unforgettable, but not in the way that anybody had hoped. Moments after the video ended, the guests began collapsing. Some of them experienced severe shortness of breath. Others screamed in pain from chemical burns caused by prolonged exposure to the fog. Panic set in as it became clear that something had gone horribly wrong. And once the room was evacuated, 3 people were found unresponsive: Natalia Monakov, Yuri Alfredov, and Valentin Didenko. All 3 were dead at the bottom of the pool. What was supposed to be a happy and glamorous birthday party shit turned into a nightmare. And just like that, Ekaterina was suddenly a widow. Yet, what unsettled many people even more than the accident itself was her behavior in the immediate aftermath. Because within hours, she posted a video publicly announcing her husband's death, not through a press release, and not through a statement, but through an emotional vlog. She filmed herself at the hospital, capturing her grief and disbelief in real time, uploading all of it for her followers to see.
Ваня находится под дверями реанимации. Кто умер, я не знаю. Ваня в реанимации находится, не знаю, в каком состоянии. Валя больше нет с нами. Еще это Даша и Юля.
And the internet, they were divided about this. Some sympathized with her pain, others accused her of exploiting the tragedy to gain attention and followers. As a trained pharmacist with a medical background, critics also question how Ekaterina could have overlooked the known dangers of mixing dry ice with water in such a closed-off space. Shit, this backlash became so intense that Russian authorities launched an investigation into her, considering whether she could be charged with her role in the incident or not. However, no charges were officially filed, and even more controversially, in just 5 months after the incident, she remarried.
Вот ты стоишь, вся такая в белом платье. Ты моя жизнь и еще
Her highly publicized grieving process, combined with the media attention and morbid curiosity around the tragedy, ended up increasing her total follower count by nearly 500,000. For many, her story became a disturbing example of how quickly social media fame can blur the lines between personal tragedy and public spectacle.
Losing all of a sudden.
And sharing this with us.
That there's nothing.
The Russian sleep experiment is a chilling tale about 5 individuals that were subjected to extreme sleep deprivation for over 15 days, resulting in horrifying physical and psychological deterioration. Though no evidence supports its occurrence, the setting of this story aligns with a time when unsettling scientific experiments were not uncommon. For instance, during the same era, Russian scientists released a video showcasing several dog heads that have been kept alive for hours using an artificial blood circulation system.
In the lungs, it takes up oxygen and becomes arterial blood. Here is the plan of the experiment. The arterial pump takes arterial blood from the reservoir to the head, while the venous pump drains off the venous blood. The blood is arterialized in the reservoir, where there is a steady flow of oxygen. And to silence.
Очевидцы утверждают, что у каждой головы после операции сохранялся свой прежний характер. Большой ласковый пес никак не мог повлиять на новую часть своего тела. Маленькое кусачее животное продолжало.
So, let's dive into the story. In the 1940s, a Russian scientist embarked on a grim experiment to explore the limits of sleep deprivation. They apparently chose 5 World War II political prisoners, labeled enemies of the state, and offered them freedom if they could remain awake for 30 days. The prisoners were then confined in a sealed chamber where they were exposed to an experimental gas stimulant to prevent them from falling asleep, equipped with portholes and microphones for monitoring. The chamber contained ample food for a month, books, running water, a toilet, and beds. And for the first 5 days, little occurred beyond increasingly emotional conversations, with the prisoners sharing their deepest thoughts. By day 6, their behavior darkened dramatically. Paranoia set in, communication ceased, and they began accusing one another of them being in their predicament. They sat with their backs turned, and eerie, inaudible whispers echoed through the microphones.
Это профессор Майрановский. Господа, вы все признаны врагами государства и приговорены к пожизненному заключению. Но у вас есть шанс вернуть себе свободу в ближайшие недели.
Вы участвуете в исследовании, которое может принести большую пользу нашей стране в предстоящей войне.
Единственное условие – вы не спите следующие 30 дней. Мы наполним камеру экспериментальным стимулятором на основе газа SFC 9 газовый 13 нитроген. Это не даст вам заснуть. Химический состав SFC 9H13N очень светочувствителен, поэтому инактиничный свет будет вашим единственным источником, яркий на протяжении всего опыта. В комнате вы найдете книги, места для отдыха, а также проточную воду, туалет и консервы, которых хватит на 5 человек более чем на месяц. Мы также установили телевизионную трансляцию успокаивающих изображений, которые помогут вам не заснуть и сохранить психическое здоровье.
Если вам это удастся, нация будет вам вечно благодарна. Удачи! Все нормально.
Газ тяжелее воздуха. Голоса ваши будут хуже. Это безобредный побочный эффект. Думайте об этом как об урод гелия.
Нет, вы станете лучше.
After 9 days of sleep deprivation, one of the test subjects broke. He ran through the chamber in a fit of terror, screaming until his vocal cords tore, reducing his cries to a whispered croak. And strangely, the others showed no reaction to this. 2 were seen tearing pages from books, defecating on them, and pacing them over the chamber's observation windows, blocking any outside view. By the 14th day, the scientists were completely blind to what was happening inside. And the 15th day, it brought total silence. Only the oxygen monitors confirmed life. And fearing the worst, the researchers decided to intervene and open the sealed chamber. And what they found was beyond comprehension. The food provided hadn't been touched. Instead, the subjects had mutilated themselves, flesh torn from limbs, organs removed, but still functioning. The evidence that all of it had been done by hand.
Оборудованный микрофонами и мультигазовым монитором для контроля уровня кислорода. Комната закрывается стальной дверью с 5-дюймовым стеклянным иллюмином. Наблюдать за любой деятельностью во время эксперимента.
Now, we all know that volcanic eruptions have always played a powerful role in shaping the Earth throughout its history, often leaving behind landscapes of unimaginable destruction. And at times, these violent natural events have also triggered mass extinctions, nearly wiping out all life on this planet. And in 2019, this ancient force of nature tried to take us out again. Stephanie Brow, her father Paul, and her sister Crystal were on vacation in New Zealand on December 9th, 2019. They were passengers aboard Ovation of the Seas, a Royal Caribbean cruise ship, which offered an excursion to White Island, known locally as Wakati, one of the most active volcanoes in the country. And this was no ordinary island either. The entire landmass was part of a restless, volcanic structure, alive with geothermal activity. When Stephanie and her family arrived, they were struck by the island's eerie and alien beauty. The whole thing felt lifeless, but it was filled with raw energy. Towering gray rock formations loomed around them, while thick clouds of steam shot straight up from the ground. Hot springs were underfoot, and at the island's center, a steaming, acidic crater lake had pulsed ominously. Tour guides have led visitors close to this dangerous centerpiece before, beginning the return journey to shore. And at that moment, Stephanie and her family were enjoying the adventure. As they walked away from the crater, Stephanie had apparently paused to take a photo. But as she raised her camera, she noticed something alarming. Black smoke that was rising from the lake. And just seconds later, a tour guide's voice broke through the silence with a single word: run. At 2:11 p.m., White Island erupted. A deafening shockwave swept over the island, throwing everyone to the ground. An enormous cloud of poisonous gas, scalding steam, and volcanic ash exploded into the sky, rising over 12,000 feet in the air. And within moments, the entire area was blanketed in a toxic smoke. This whole entire island transformed into a furnace, and those who had been standing closest to the crater, they died instantly. Stephanie struggled to breathe. Her body was scorched by the intense heat, and with her being badly injured, she needed immediate medical attention. Like, her burns were severe, third-degree burns that covered 70% of her body, and to help survive this, she would later undergo skin graft surgeries using tissue from 12 different donors. And tragically, her sister Crystal and father Paul did not survive their injuries. Out of the 47 people on the island at the time, 22 of them lost their lives. The survivors faced a long and painful recovery, physically, obviously, but definitely emotionally as well. In the months that followed, Stephanie bravely shared her story in interviews, including an emotional appearance on 60 Minutes. While she was there, she ended up speaking on the loss of her family, the trauma of the event, and her difficult journey toward healing and feeling normal again.
I push forward not only for myself, but for my mum, my dad, and my sister.
As she rebuilt her life, she also pursued legal action against Royal Caribbean, arguing that passengers had not been properly warned about the heightened volcanic activity in the days leading up to the eruption. Evidence later revealed that just a week before the explosion, geysers of boiling mud had nearly erupted 100 feet in the air, obvious signs of increased volcanic unrest. And despite this, the company didn't release no significant warnings at all, and the excursions continued as planned. Ultimately, Royal Caribbean reached a private settlement with Stephanie, and in the aftermath of all of this, all visits to White Island were permanently suspended. Today, this tragedy stands as a haunting reminder of nature's unpredictability and the power it wields. I mean, damn, it do begs the question, with so many active volcanoes across the globe, Which one will erupt next? And will the next one be a global disaster? The discovery of a giant doll drifting in the Rio Grande River has left both locals and online communities stunned and confused. What made the find especially disturbing was its condition. The doll was wrapped in a sack that resembled a human corpse, and the shit was abnormally large. The story first gained attention through a Reddit post, where the original poster described the doll's grotesque features, and even mentioned seeing an apparition in the flames when it was later burned. The doll had long, skeletal fingers, large beady eyes, and a wide, gaping mouth that gave this shit a creepy and almost lifelike expression. Clearly, this wasn't your average toy. The Reddit post quickly went viral, sparking a flurry of speculation about it. I mean, some users leaned into the paranormal, claiming that this figure was a demon in disguise, while others suggested a more grounded explanation, that the shit was probably a leftover horror movie prop. Many pointed out its uncanny resemblance to Clappy, a ventriloquist dummy from the Ghostbumps series, or even the same vibe as Annabelle, the haunted doll from The Conjuring. Now, this similarity led some to believe it was a Halloween decoration, or some horror-themed prop that somehow ended up in the river. Some more grounded theories suggested that the doll might have been an animatronic figure, once used in a fortune teller machine, which is understandable because I've definitely seen that as well. However, the supernatural theories quickly overshadowed the practical ones, especially after what happened once the doll was pulled from the river. Scared and unnerved by its presence, the locals decided to burn it, hoping to put an end to whatever strange energy this doll carried. But the fire only deepened the mystery, because witnesses claimed to see a face appear within the flames, while others theorized that the act of burning resembled an ancient ritual or form of witchcraft tied to local folklore. And what disturbed many the most was that the doll, despite it being engulfed in flames, it was barely damaged. Its disturbing features, its wide eyes, everything about it remained intact. Even skeptics were left unsettled, wondering whether this object was a forgotten prop, a ritual artifact, or something far more sinister.